Now, how do we deal with data? So there's a couple of tools that help us dig down into all this search data that we're finding. The first one that I wanted to show you here is Google Trends. This is a great tool for you to use with your students when you're trying to get them to understand the context of what they're looking at in terms of a search result. So basically what you do is you go to google.com/trends, and you'll see that there's a search box just up in the top, and you type in your search term that you're looking at. So it could be, for instance, let's have a look at global warming. I type in the search term global warming. A page opens up here for me, and this shows me all the search terms for global warming. Now you'll see this goes back to just below to, where does it take us to? Beginning of 2004, right through to today. And you'll see that there's a screen here, and it graphs out the search phrases. Now, some interesting things to take note of, that you can find what's trending at the moment, okay? You'll see here that there's little letters sometimes on the top of peaks, and what those letters stand for are news headlines that might have caused a sudden spike in search results. So here, if I look at the H, I've got the Los Angeles Times, and it says Bush to set realistic goals to combat global warming. So that particular news article created a bit of a frenzy. In November 2008, if I look at this G, I've got the Chicago Tribune. It talks about the governor's pledge to fight global warming together. So that's the trend of what has happened. Up the top, just above the graph here, you'll see that there's a box that you can tick, and it says forecast. So when we click this forecast, Google will put out a dotted line, and it will actually forecast what they think will happen. Now, the great thing here about global warming is that we can chart graphs against each other, so search terms against each other. So you could sit here with your students and you could say to them, what's some other search terms that would be like global warming, so related searches. So here we could put in here, for instance, climate change. Okay, and so if I click that and click search, we're going to see that global warming and climate change are now plotted against each other. If you're looking at correlations, you'll see that there's a fairly good correlation between the two. Global warming gets more searches than climate change. If you wanted to see the difference that this might make, you might want to look up the G20, for instance, or you might want to look up Kevin Rudd as a Prime Minister who was pushing a lot about climate change and global warming, and so on. So just a nice way to be able to look at this. Now, these are all search trends, okay? So things that are happening in terms of search.